Hey guys, so the Andor trailer just came out and I thought I would go through it and discuss some little Easter eggs I have found. So as the trailer starts, we see some people who are most likely rebels or people just fighting against the Empire based on their clothing. They look up and see a giant Star Destroyer flying overhead, which is an awesome shot. That's one thing about Rogue One, which technically Andor is a prequel to, is that it had amazing cinematography. In my opinion, it's the best looking Star Wars film or show to date.
To steal from the Empire? You just walk in like you belong.
Then we follow on to dialogue from Andor, talking about stealing from the Empire. The shots they have selected to match this dialogue with are a little boy climbing into a tunnel area, as well as looking over what seems to be a large mining facility. This is most definitely Andor. In fact, almost 100% has to be a young Andor. Probably about 5 to 10 years before the show is set.
They're so proud of themselves. So fat and satisfied. They can't imagine that someone like me would ever get inside their house.
We then cut to a shot of the Senate room, which is very cool to see. It does appear that this show will focus on some of the politics of Star Wars and the inner works of the Empire. The one thing with this scene is that we may see Palpatine here. He is rumored to be in this show, and if there was to be a scene with him where he would show up, I think it would most definitely be this one. It would make the most sense. Or we could also see Mas Amedda. But someone has to be in that center pod controlling the Senate debates. Continuing on, we see Imperials and Andor dialogue continuing. Once again, we see the boy who is most likely a young Andor. Then we see Andor in an Imperial uniform, which is sort of signifying that he has infiltrated the Empire. This could be in a small town police force, or maybe going off into the Imperial Academy for training.
Cassian Andor.
Then we are introduced to a character called Luthen Rael. Now Luthen appears to be recruiting Andor in this scene, or at least that's how I perceived this. What I think is happening here is that we have Andor as a child and even into a teenager and young adult, just annoying the Empire by stealing and disrupting operations, but nothing that is too serious. Then I think in this scene we will have Luthen come in to Andor and formally invite him to the rebellion, or give him a mission of some type, and then after a little while he'll be in the rebellion.
The Empire is choking us so slowly. We're starting not to notice. What I'm asking is this. Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real?
Now this scene here is thought to be that scrap planet we saw in Fallen Order, called Bracca. It's obvious at some point Andor will travel to this planet for whatever reason. Maybe he is going there for supplies, to help the rebellion, or to find a ship. There's not much else you can really do on a scrap planet. So we see Luthen land on some sandy, rocky planet, which with what Star Wars likes to do, this has to be Tatooine, because you can't have a Star Wars project without at least seeing Tatooine once.
I need all the heroes I can get.
For the greater good.
Call it what you will.
Let's call it war.
This guy here was in Rogue One with Saw Gerrera, so they're still just chilling together. Next to him is an X-Wing, which is also pretty cool to see. Now this is obviously Saw Gerrera. He is the most violent rebel you'll ever meet.
It's fermenting.
These could potentially be LAAT gunships or transport ships, which would also be very nice to see.
It's fermenting out there, son. Pockets of fermenting.
You're in my net.
A Lambda T4A shuttle. Now this could be in one of two places I think. Either it's Bracca, that shipyard from Fallen Order, or even the outskirts of Coruscant, where it is more rugged and rough looking, compared to the pristine, high-end places more in the center of Coruscant.
My net. Are you a fish? Or are you a thief?
More Imperials interrogating some people stealing. This could be related to Andor as a child when he was stealing from the Empire, but I think what's more likely is that she is someone who will join the rebellion, and maybe Luthen will find her or something like that.
You're slipping.
I'm not slipping. I've just been hiding for too long.
Now this part here is interesting, because it shows Luthen in nice high-end clothing with longer hair. I think this indicates his time in the Empire, or on Coruscant as a senator maybe. But this must be before he realized the cruelties of the Empire. We can see in the scene that Mon Mothma is going to see him, which could be her giving him this task of recruiting people into the rebellion.
As long as everyone thinks I'm an irritation, there's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing.
What are you really doing?
This just shows that Mothma has some plan she is executing, which is to do with the rebellion and things like that. But I think having these scenes with everyone in amazing clothing on Coruscant and going to Senate meetings juxtaposed with the rough environments Andor will be set in is going to be a very awesome contrast to see with throughout the show, which I think these two storylines will eventually meet towards the end. And from what we have seen so far, it is sort of indicating that Luthen will go around recruiting people to the rebellion so that he can fight back against the Empire. But what is cool is that it also shows the politics and confines within Coruscant, which means we'll probably be flicking back and forth between the two.
This is what revolution looks like.
I'm tired of losing.
This could be Andor in some sort of prison trying to escape, I'm not so sure. Most of these shots now are just some of the action scenes, which don't provide too much to break down. Okay, so that's the trailer. I think the show looks amazing, and for once it actually looks like Star Wars. The quality and production looks phenomenal, much better than anything else we have seen so far this year, which is a very close link to Rogue One. I hope you all enjoyed, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.